Zaldrizas Puzdari Ixos Daur. In this video, I'm going to discuss real quick. I'm just going to more so react and then explain how I think it's going to be visualized on screen. This is, of course, a clip of Daemon that was overseen in the massive flush of House of the Dragon leaked content back in the summertime. Please do me a massive favor and slap a like on this video. So like goal is going to be 420. But then also, make sure you subscribe and then turn your notifications all the way on. So that way, you get an alert every single time I drop a video throughout the wait for House of the Dragon Season 1, or as it's known on this channel, the Donut! Okay, so before I play the clip, and just to give a bit of a precursor, mainly because, this is a new series, and if you haven't read the books, you don't really know what the fuck to expect. So basically, just to grossly summarize, obviously, if you want to know all the information, go and pick up Fire and Blood over on Amazon. Part 1, there's a Part 2 coming out, but Part 1 covers the entirety of this story from this new prequel series from Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. So basically, when King Viserys becomes king, right, so he's the king in the start of this story. Remember, we're flashing back to multiple different timelines or time points in this storyline for, the Targaryen Civil War known as the Dance of the Dragons. But basically, in the beginning, King Viserys does not name his brother Daemon the heir. That's kind of tradition. It's like, he didn't have any male heirs at the time. This was, it's not really, established whether there was a viable candidate or not. But basically what is known is that Daemon is not named the heir of his brother, who's the king on the Iron Throne, right? So Daemon's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to go and, help out down in the Stepstones, basically carve out my own kingdom. Eventually, he is named King of the Narrow Sea, right? The King of the Stepstones. He does end up getting his own title down there. But long story short, there's a bit of a piracy problem in the Stepstones, right? So there's these narrow chain of islands that were at one point connected Essos and Westeros. And the Seven Kingdoms have a problem with pirates and all this shit down there. So there's a group of people known as the Triarchy, and that consisted of Lys, Myr, and Tyrosh, I believe. But basically, after they had a war with Volantis, they came over and helped out the Seven Kingdoms by putting, sort of nullifying all of the piracy and the bullshit that was going on in the Stepstones. Now, for a while, the Seven Kingdoms did appreciate that, but after a while, they were like, yo, these taxes are too fucking high. We could probably go down there and take care of this ourselves, and one of the main people who had a big problem with this was Corlys Velaryon, right? So after Daemon is no longer named, or he's never named, next in line for the Iron Throne, he sees an opportunity in going to sort of take that land, right? So when he does this, he obviously is helped by Corlys Velaryon, who's going to be another main character in this series. The actual campaign itself was being funded by Daemon's brother, King Viserys, right? So with Viserys' support of gold, he's got the king's backing, basically. The war comes to a head in, I think it's 109 AC. Basically, Daemon controls all but 2 of the Stepstones at this point. Corlys' naval fleet has naval supremacy, and there's there's a point where Daemon can kind of name himself as king of the Stepstones. So he does this. They had supremacy for a while. It was until the Triarchy allied with Dorne, they were able to sort of push back. So after Dorne teams up with the Triarchy, and Daemon obviously has a hard time defending the Stepstones, in 111 AC, he ends up going back to court for 6 months, which obviously makes it even harder for him to defend the Stepstones. But at this time, in 111 AC, this will be, I think, a year that we'll get to see in the first season of House of the Dragon, because at this moment is when the Greens versus the Blacks are established, right? So Alicent wore her traditional green attire from House Hightower, and then Alicent, her stepdaughter, right, to oppose this, Rhaenyra wore traditional Targaryen colors, red and black, my favorite colors, I might say. But in that moment, that's when the Greens versus the Blacks are established, and then I'm pretty sure Daemon will go back down to the Stepstones and stay there until, in the book's timeline, 115 AC, and that's obviously when Rhea Royce dies. Daemon then leaves to go back to try to claim her inheritance, fails to do so, and then ends up marrying Rhaenyra at this time, who was Corlys's daughter. There were 5 other King of the Stepstones after Daemon left to go and claim Rhea's inheritance in the Vale, but ultimately, I think at like 131 or 130 AC, the Triarchy and Dorne take it back. Okay, so just to kind of set up the scene a little bit, this is obviously where Daemon is arriving back from the court in 111 AC, where the Greens and the Blacks are established, because obviously once he goes back to claim Rhea Royce's inheritance in the Vale, he doesn't return to the Stepstones, right? At least as king. So this clip is Daemon arriving after leaving for a bit. We've seen the end of this clip. If you want to know what happens, go back. You could check the description down below. It was a video that I did like 6 months ago, but it was when the leaks were heavy back in July, and I think I named the video Savage Daemon or something, because basically he walks up to that meeting with Corlys and basically punches out one of the House Targaryen knights because of something snippy that he said to him. This shows you who the fuck is in charge and why he's called the Rogue Prince. So that's part of a clip that I broke down, and in that video I showed that clip, but go watch that one. This is the beginning clip of that. Like I said, it was probably muffled and muted in the influx of all that hot D leak content that we now haven't gotten for months that we're all fucking craving. But yeah, so here's that clip. So yeah, this is Daemon walking up. He's got Dark Sister on his fucking hilt. He's got his hand. He's like, look at all these bodies. You can actually see the filming. So like the part that they actually plan on filming, the part they're using the beach is kind of lined out, right? So you see that big line on the other side, you see that big line on the other, on the right side of it with those tracks leading off. So the only part that's being filmed is all these dead bodies that Daemon is walking through, right? So this is fucking intense, right? We're gonna have the camera panned out, zoomed in. We're gonna have Ramin Djawadi's insane music playing right now, and you're gonna see Daemon gets up to walk kind of out of frame, right? There's the camera on the rig, right? And then Daemon exits the frame and then turns around and they're reshooting it. This whole fucking thing reminds me of when Jon Snow and Daenerys were filming on the beach, and we had Tyrion and everyone out there in Dragonstone for Game of Thrones Season 7. It is amazing. This is 2022 is going to be the best year ever for fantasy, right? I mean, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. I've taken up enough of your time. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Please slap a like on this video, as the like goal is going to be 420. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunts Reviews. Long nights. Oh, boom. Oh, yeah. Zaldrizas Buzdali. Ixos Daor.